You're listening to CDKL5 in color. I'm Marissa, and on this podcast, I'm joined by my co-host Amanda, and sometimes some very special guests to talk all things CDKL5 deficiency disorder. It's a rare genetic condition caused by changes in the CDKL5 gene. Patients with this condition often experience profound developmental disabilities, difficult to control seizures that start in infancy, cortical visual impairment, and a variety of other health concerns. It's a challenging condition, but we know that by sharing our stories, we can raise awareness, provide support, and paint pictures of our community that can lead to greater understanding and meaningful change for families like ours. Let's jump right in. Hi, Amanda. I'm good. It's our last episode of the year. I can't believe it.
It's hard to believe that we're looking at 2026. I'm ready.
I know. Every year goes quickly. I feel like as you get older, every year goes faster and faster. But yeah, 2025, it was a great year for our podcast. It might have been a hard year for other things,
Yes.
but for our show, it was good.
I agree. Our community actually, I feel like, is just growing. I mean, I say that every year, but I feel like we're starting to see a lot more adults that are diagnosed later. That's a good thing, right? We have awareness out there. We have another epilepsy med that's possibly going to come onto market for approval in CDKL5. So I think that's always a win for us too, to have more treatment options.
Absolutely. It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
And we see all the babies getting diagnosed.
Yeah.
We've met quite a few new babies this year.
Yeah.
And it's bittersweet, right? It's hard because we know families are in for a difficult journey with CDKL5, but at the same time, these little babies are the sweetest and cutest. And, we just welcome them to our life and our community and do the best we can to support everybody who shows up to be here with us.
Well, and I think it's good that people don't have to spend so much time looking for a diagnosis. I know it's, comes with a lot. I think science, in 20 years, things have come along. Gives me hope for the next 20.
Yeah, absolutely. Every year, more and more is learned, and hopefully 2026 will bring a lot of positives for our CDKL5 community and for our families. We asked our listeners to share with us their celebrations, their challenges, their wisdom, their worry, their wonders, their hopes, anything about life with CDKL5 that reflects on how 2025 went or that looks forward to 2026. And before we share what people told us, I think we should share our own reflections for the year. Before we start doing that, I will say that this is the first full year of our show, and we put together a 2025 wrapped video. So I'll link it in the show notes for people to check out the engagement that we've had with our community. I love when people message me after an episode and tell me what they liked about the episode. That's one of my favorite things. What resonated with them, what they appreciated. That's always really special. So if you ever have thoughts or comments, people listening, you can message us anytime because we would absolutely love to hear your feedback.
Really, we're here trying to fill a gap in the community that we felt was important and not necessarily being offered to people who weren't on a social media site.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, Amanda, let's talk about 2025. What challenged you?
The top of my challenges this year have been the realization of what is coming down the pipeline with the changes to Medicaid from the cuts from the bill that was passed earlier in the year. Living in Colorado, we've had the privilege of having decent access to home and community-based service supports, but with the cuts that are coming, that is changing rapidly. And it's changing so fast that all of us have spent a lot of time on webinars and advocating to legislatures and something we call healthcare policy and financing, or HIC, it's called in Colorado. We've spent a lot of time engaging people either at the policy level where it is implemented and also at the lawmaker level. And we're not done. And I pretty much have slotted once every 2 weeks, I have some kind of call or some kind of change to deal with in what's coming down the pipeline for AVA supports. Ava right now is 20. She'll be 21 this year. And once your child turns 22, everything they ever were receiving benefits for becomes very elusive, I will say. There's something called EDPST in the States where this law makes it so essentially if kids need something, they get it from Medicaid. There's not a lot of back and forth. There's no denial of therapies, for example. So I am really trying to get things funded this last year that might be hard to fund once she turns 20. It was last year of transition is this year, and they are really trying to cut back on her transition time. That's not really something that legally they can do, but who am I to fight with them, and where am I going to take some of these grievances with the Department of Ed being in such disarray and the OCR. So it's very uncertain what the future is going to look like with all of these changes coming down. Since Ava was diagnosed in 2012, and even before that, we've been in observational research, outcome measure, different types of natural history studies. About 7 years ago, we threw in an interventional study for a compound called CDKL5, and Ava has done extremely well on that med. She has not had a rescue med since. We are still have seizures, but her seizures are much more manageable than they were. And we come to the realization in 2025 that Takeda was dropping soticlestat, and there was no path forward for those of us who started in the phase 2 and have been hanging on ever since, waiting for it to find a path to market. So, mulling around where Ava goes and also thinking about what seizure med changes are we going to make, because that's really going to impact some of the services and what people are comfortable with or not comfortable with in like adult day programs.
If she comes off soticlestat and she has an increase in seizures intensity, frequency, then it might impact her ability to be in a program because they might not be comfortable with her seizure activity.
I would say that is a possibility when it comes to people starting to think they need nurses or that they need to call 911 or those kinds of things. And I don't know. These are things that I've faced in the past in pediatric, in the school system even, and they have to take her. They have to figure it out in the school. They have to get to a place where they're comfortable with your child. So for me, I just hope we don't immediately go back to having some really hard times with the seizure component.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
those are big challenges.
Yeah.
All right, throw some really heavy challenges out.
So, things are always unknown, but I never imagined being on an interventional trial med for 7, it's 7 years. And in the back of my mind, I'm trying not to overthink it or, fret it because I can't do much about it. But also, if I decide I'm going to go get a job, I don't know how long that's going to last or what I can commit to if her whole wellness comes unbound. So,
right.
So, I don't know. I think maybe I'll leave my challenges right there. I'll punt it back to you and you can tell a little bit
Tell
about
my
your
challenges.
Yeah.
Man. So challenges for us really have been my biggest challenge with my son. My whole life, it seems like these past really 3 years has been navigating illnesses. My son, I don't know what it is. He eats good. I mean, he is on a blended diet. He has lentils, he has greens every day. He has the best diet in our entire family. And he gets sick constantly. And when he gets sick, he can't manage it like a normal kid can. And I asked the doctor once, like, do you think he gets sick more than normal? And they were like, no, but regular kids, when they get sick, they walk around with a runny nose and life moves on. He can't hang like that. So any sign of viral illness, boom, he's on sick plan. He's probably utilizing oxygen. Has a decent chance of ending up in the hospital. I think we had 2 hospitalizations for viral illnesses this year. But apart from that, he was on sick plan for illnesses many months this year. And it's hard because it's so much more intense than regular caregiving for him because it's so much more equipment. It's more often, he's on a well plan for his respiratory plan. So once a day, we go through the whole rigmarole of shaky vests, nebulizers, all of that stuff. But when he's sick, it's every 4 hours, it's overnight, it's running the oxygen, it's suctioning, and it's scary. When he has the slightest sign that he's getting a cold, my anxiety is like through the roof. How bad is this going to get? And that's my biggest challenge. If he would just not get sick, If he would just not get sick, my life would be infinitely better. Um, I really struggle with that. And then our seizures, we ride this roller coaster of being in a better place, not being in a good place, and we're also on that statistical stat like you are, so looking ahead to losing access to it also makes me feel super anxious. None of us know what that's going to look like for our kids, and it's very scary when you feel like you have something that's been helpful to not have it any longer, not of your choice, is really unsettling and sad and unfortunate. And it's a sad reality of drug development, right? That, sometimes things are helpful and they still don't go through. And I think we should talk more about that as a community too.
Yeah, trial design is very important, and also advocating for the community at strategic times is very important too. So we got a whole podcast we can put on the 2026 calendar.
Yeah. It's important. Even going back to what you're saying about your challenges with Medicaid and transition and all of these pieces, it's so complicated to understand. And it's all decisions other people are making that are impacting us. And it's hard to know where to put your voice. So we should talk more about navigating those types of things.
Yes, and just because we have something today, there's no guarantee we're gonna have it tomorrow, and that's the boogeyman of the disability community, I guess. It's a continual fight. Nothing is settled.
Right.
We, are continually fighting to keep what we have, keep on the pulse of what the system is doing because we're married to the system whether we like it or not, and,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And rights
important.
that our kids had or have, they're not permanent. They can be taken away.
And it wasn't so long ago. Just
It
historically
really
speaking,
wasn't.
it wasn't that long ago that our kids got the rights that they enjoy today.
Right. And the protection, the ability to fight, and the support through agencies that were there to help you fight.
Yeah,
That's what's, scary to lose that support because sometimes you can't win fights as a little person. You need help.
yeah. And you need someone who understands the very
Right.
complex nature of this whole beast we're talking about. So
Exactly. So challenges are a bummer. They're part of life with CDKL5. There's innumerable challenges. We talk about them a lot on our podcast and hear from other people what they're challenged with. But, it's the end of the year. It's time to look forward. It's time to think about what could be. So, what are you looking forward to in 2026?
well, my youngest is going to be off to college this fall, and while I'm going to miss her dearly, it's a very difficult transition that I'm getting more comfortable with. Her departing our home is going to open up the door for me to pull some more caretakers in, and in some regards, the challenges I talked about are forcing me to pull caretakers in to access all of Ava's budget that she's allotted for caretaking. So it's kind of lining up in good timing. And, this whole idea of Ava leaving the school system at the same time as her sister is kind of like a gift from the universe, I think, because they're both going to be exiting high school, transition in high school. And so I am, after May, free from IEPs. I at least am trying to celebrate not having to go through another IEP meeting ever again for my own child. And I have to admit, like, I'm feeling a little bit of caregiver burnout in the way that, like, I would like to start spending more time with Ava as a mom and less time facilitating her day to day needs. She deserves that because there are times that our moods are lined up in a not so great mood day, and it's not fun for either of us. So I really hope, talk about hopes too, that I can start to think about my career again in different ways, what I want my life to look like now that both my kids are, entering adulthood, and I'm, able to hopefully find time to be Amanda and not Ava's mom or Eliza's mom even. Parenting is a big gig, and empty nesting is like supposed to be something we all enjoy. And although I won't be a complete empty nester, I really am going to focus on trying to take a little bit of slice of my life back for myself outside of my children's needs. So we'll see.
Yeah,
You
that's
say it out
amazing.
loud and you really gotta, like, try to stick to it. It's not, it's definitely gonna take some intention, and it opens me up to having to be a little more open and honest about what life with Ava is like when I'm engaging in things that are going to take a slice of my time. So,
Yeah.
whether that's relationships, work, whatever it is, like, right, even friendships, I mean, I think that life is short. Some days it feels like the days are long, but, there's gotta be a different way for me and Ava to navigate adulthood for
Yeah.
her. So, I'm kind of excited
Absolutely.
to see how that goes.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, I think looking towards the next year, I would like to expand my support systems also. I dipped my toe into a little bit this year. I had some help over the summer with some nursing that helped me get Gregory out, like to the beach and things like that. We had a short burst of overnight nursing, which was incredible. We would love to look forward to 2026 having more overnight support. But I think trying to get out in my community more with my son is a goal of mine for 2026. Just making more of an effort to get out and explore and have new experiences, you know? I think sometimes I can be unsure about accessibility and other things that might feel like barriers, but I need to do more to push through and really get out there and see and help and take Gregory out there and see more of what the world has to offer us. You know, thinking about celebrations for 2025, Gregory had his very first birthday party with peers, and it was super fun. And he got a new bike this year, a new adaptive bike. So that was something really positive. So more bike rides in 2026, more beach time in 2026, less illnesses, please. I can't control that, but that would be amazing. I really hope 2026 is going to be a lot of fun for both of our families. We need it. We
Yeah.
need more fun.
Well, and he's getting to that age where his peers are a little more aware and
The kids are really sweet with him at school and fight sometimes to go to reading block with him or special time with him. And that's the beauty of elementary school, right? I'm pleased that we're still in these elementary years because it's nice. That's not always going to be the case, but for now it is. So we're leaning into all of that positivity of the younger years and the peers being really fun and supportive.
they're good in high school too, so just so
Oh,
you know.
good. Oh, that's good to know.
High school is really good. I don't know about middle school. I'm
It's
not
just
gonna
middle
say much
school. That's
about
like
that,
middle
but
school's the worst for
they're
everyone.
they're they're all a mess. They're all a
Yeah.
mess.
Middle school. Oh my gosh. All right. So we put this question out to our listeners, to our followers on social media about the challenges and worries and hopes and wisdom and all of the things that they wanted to share with us about 2025 and looking forward to 2026. So I wanted to share a little bit about what they said. So we'll do their challenges first. We'll try to end on a high note. There's some of the challenges, worries, reflections from listeners. We had a voicemail. If you didn't know, you can go on our website and click and leave us a voicemail. That's so fun to hear your voice. We had a voicemail messenger from a listener who talked about a challenge that they faced in 2025. They had a medical crisis with their child out of state, and they ended up in the hospital out of state for quite a while. And how challenging was that for them to navigate? Oh my gosh, my heart was just in my stomach listening to her voice message because I cannot even imagine having a medical crisis with Gregory out of state and how frightening and so out of your element and all of the challenges that must come with insurance and different providers and all of the things.
Well,
Um,
even just getting them home is if they're not stable, nobody's gonna transport. Yeah, it's a whole thing. That's
yeah, I don't know how you prepare for something like that.
a I don't know, even just what do I do if I can't make it home on my flight with my kid or however you
Mm,
got there, right? Because I think that, it's a risk anywhere we are. We're not in control of our kids' health, and, once you get into a hospital system, no matter how bad you wanna go home, if they're not ready to send you home, you're at the mercy of them.
right. I wonder if there are resources for navigating those types of emergency situations. If there are any, we'll put them in the show notes. Another listener shared on Instagram that they were finding the adult system and dealing with insurance to big challenges that they faced in 2025. So you can identify with that.
Yeah. Yep, that EPDST, I believe it is.
That's the Colorado thing?
No, that's a federal law.
Oh, we'll put that in the show notes
It's
too.
called early and periodic screening, diagnostic, and treatment, and that's why your kids get what they get until they're 21.
Wow.
So,
On Facebook, somebody shared that they are constantly worried that their daughter is going to die. And they have that as this sort of recurring negative thought, and also worry about what would happen if they themselves, as the primary caregiver, died and their child is left behind without their number one person who knows how to care for them best. Obviously, I know a lot of us can identify with both of those sentiments, but really the caregiving burden is so high in CDKL5, and the amount of knowledge and detail and everything that you have in your head as a primary caregiver, it's really hard to replicate that in another person. I know for me, I'm the primary caregiver. My husband knows how to take care of my son, but he doesn't know as good as I do. And then guess what? There's nobody else. Like, I mean, he has a nurse at school who knows some things, but she doesn't know anything about home. And so it's a real fear for families like ours when something happens to a primary caregiver. I actually have a document on my refrigerator that's what's Gregory's schedule, what's his blended diet, how do you make this, what are all the different DME companies, what are all the different pharmacies we utilize, how do you maintain and clean all the equipment, where do you, I have all that information typed up and on my fridge. But there's a lot of stuff that we have in our heads that we know about our kids that there's a good chance nobody else knows. So doing your
yeah.
best to document all that you can. And, I don't know what
Yep.
else you can do. Try and get more people in your life to know your
Well,
kid if you can.
I know the system sometimes has a way of forcing you into this documentation as you receive services. So when you travel into adulthood and guardianship, a lot of these things are part of that process too, since they become a ward of the state. Each state has their own process, but they figure out the bare minimum that they require to know about them for you to keep them in your house with support anyway. I mean, I guess some people might just say no thanks to the system, but I don't. It's almost impossible when you have an adult
Absolutely.
that
No, you're going to have
needs.
to engage with the
Yeah,
system to,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you don't really have a choice unless
yeah.
you're independently wealthy. You
Well,
got your own,
even
even then,
then,
but I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, you
you
still have
know,
to grab guardianship, or you're done with medical
sure.
care.
Absolutely. So, people shared their hopes for the new year with us, hopes for no hospitalizations. People said no emergency visits. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Someone shared that they have hope for finding a good caregiver to add some fun to their life and their family with their child and to help with their daughter. We know that the number one unmet need for our families is respite. And so, if you're listening to the show as a friend, as a family member, to a person living with CDKL5 or to a caregiver who's caring for someone with CDKL5, I encourage you to think about how you can step up more and really help fill some of that need for respite for our families if you can. That would be an amazing gift to give a family. So, as we look ahead to 2026 for our podcast, we're excited about a few things. We're excited for sure about new stories. We've got a whole list of new caregivers to come on and tell about their life with CDKL5. So I'm super excited about that. We're also doing some community education with the American Society for Gene and Cell Therapy. So if you recall that we did a quiz. When did we do that? In September?
So
Yeah, it was a couple months ago. We put out a quiz understanding our community's knowledge about drug development and the CDKL5 research landscape. We still need to pick our drawing winner. We have not forgotten about that. We're going to pick in 2026 in the beginning of the year winner of our gift card. So stay tuned for that.
I hope
Really
we have a scientist or two.
Yes.
Aside from ASGCT getting not maybe pulling in a few more science conversations,
Yes.
see how you guys receive that.
Yeah. That was a good
Yeah.
experience we had with Ben, who is
Yeah.
the researcher from the UK talking about
Yeah.
his new discoveries. So yeah, that would be cool to get some more science voices on. And we're going to announce we have a sponsor, a 2026 sponsor for our podcast. So we will announce that in the new year. It's super exciting. I don't know. It's all exciting. I really hope you guys will check out our wrapped video. I'll link it in the show notes. It's on our YouTube channel. And I'm proud of us. I think we've done a
Yeah.
good job.
And don't be shy. Like if you want to hear a topic, well, I mean, like let us know. how we
Yes.
can better serve your needs, whether it be from caretaking experience and camaraderie to, back to science and helping you understand a little bit more about, how how does this all work? Even the system we can that, we've covered a lot of things that we're involved in, and there's no reason we can't try to, at least find some resources, even if it's not a podcast that are lacking.
Yes. Yeah, if there's something you need, let us know because chances are we can help you find it. And if there's something you want to hear us talk about, please, we would love to know that. We're going to do a blended diet episode for sure in the new year. So that is something I'm super excited about. Blending for tube feeding. That's one of my
Mhm.
favorite topics.
It comes up a lot too, so it's
Mm,
a very much needed area. So
yeah, you're right. Well, I just want to say thanks for hanging out with me doing this, Amanda. It's been super fun. And
I love our time together. I'm so pleased that we landed here, and it's impactful, and I get to spend time with you.
yeah, it's so fun. And we
Yeah.
wish all of our listeners and our whole CDKL5 community a peaceful end to 2025. And we really look forward to continuing our conversations in 2026. Thanks for listening. We hope you'll follow us on social media at CDKL5 in color on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and visit us online at www.cdkl5incolor.com. Have questions or a topic you'd like us to chat about? Would you like to be a guest on our podcast? Email us cdkl5incolor@gmail.com and we'll be in touch. Until next time.